Hi, right now I'm going to talk to you about the why. The why is the big reason why do we get out of bed, why do we get to work, and but not only that, why we actually put an effort and work so hard and try to get better so we can actually be successful in this job. First of all, let's talk about instead of calling it why, let's talk about just call it a reason, the big reason. So why do we need the big reason and we cannot just show up for work like if you were a teacher or a doctor or an engineer. Actually, a teacher maybe not, but like an engineer, software programmer. Show up at 9, do your work, leave at 5, no problem. Why is this different? Sales is a mentally tough job. It is a mental job, and we have to prepare mentally. And there are many reasons. First of all, this job I would say, and a lot of people say that 80% of success is based on your why, your big reason. And 20% is just details. It's just the skills, small skills of how do you get there. Having a why is basically it's like programming your brain. Think about your brain as your computer. You can program your subconscious mind so it'll work on your behalf. It'll work for you, and it kind of works both ways. There's a little bit of weird situation because you build your why, you give it to your brain uses that reason, uses that motivation, and it uses itself to get you to that motivation. So again, it's like a machine. If you turn this machine on, it'll give you what you want. It's pretty easy, right? So a lot of these things, if you read self-help book, listen to self-help gurus and teachers, some of this sounds like some voodoo, supernatural, religious stuff. For example, there's this book, The Secret. There's a movie on Netflix, and a lot of people make fun of it for good reasons. If you just take, how some people see that, of course, it's not going to work. And the critique that people do is that, okay, if you just think about it, it's just going to appear. Is that what it is? That's not what it is. But law of attraction is real thing. It's scientifically proven, and you experience it all the time. I'll give you an example. Maybe not in car sales because we deal with cars all the time, but let's say normal person, you hear about a lot, normal person starts thinking about a car. Let's say they start thinking about a Toyota RAV4. Suddenly, every time they drive, they see a Toyota RAV4. Suddenly, those cars are everywhere. Same things could be with clothing. You think about certain type of jeans, you go out, now everybody seems like wearing those jeans. Did those things just appear? No, they were there always. But now you programmed your brain, you gave your brain a command just by thinking about something. And now your brain subconsciously finds those things. It works exactly the same with our job in sales. If you have big reason on on something that you want to achieve in life to get to a certain stage, just think about it is the minimum. If you say it, this is the next level. If you write it, you're already ahead of everybody else. And now you've wrote it down, forget about it, delete it, burn the paper. Your brain will be working on that because it is there. All right. Again, some people will compare it to religion, but let's talk about what religion is, what a prayer is. So, is prayer voodoo and mumbo jumbo and it's just nonsense? Well, think about it. What is prayer? You sit down, you breathe, you concentrate on something. That's meditation. Does meditation work? Yeah, it works. You're being grateful. You thank God for something. That's just being grateful. And there's science right now that if you're being grateful, if you every day you write down some things that you're grateful for, it'll improve your mood, it'll improve your life. Same with this thing. If you think about what you want, you will increase the chances of arriving to those things. Okay? All right. So basically, a good reason, a good why, is a compelling reason to work through adversity, to be flexible, and to get out of your comfort zone. Because let's think about what happens if you don't have strong enough why. As long as things get tough, you will just stop and you'll revert back to easy stuff, things that are comfortable. So in the context of sales, Somebody told you, well, you have to make a lot of phone calls. Okay, you start making phone calls. Everybody on the phone call calls either hang up on you or tell you no or something else. Everything goes to voicemail. If you don't have a good enough reason why you want to proceed, those things will beat up on you. It's going to affect you mentally, and you will find reasons, your brain will find reasons to stop doing it and go back to other things like waiting for people to call or finding some easy customers. Um, I'm personally fascinated with special forces training, especially something like Navy SEALs, because it's like an isolated thing. There are a lot of documentary movies and series about their training, the BUDS training, and specifically the Hell Week. And think about what happens there. People dream for years of getting to that training. People apply, people go through testing, they train at home, they get proficient in running and swimming and lifting. Sometimes they go and join the Navy and have to wait for years because before they're allowed to go through the training. So after all of that, after years that they go through, out of 200 people, only about 20 pass every time. Why is that? Are they special people? No, usually you look at them, they're average looking, they're not great in anything in particular, they're not good runners, they're not super strong, but those are the people with good why. Those are the people when it's really hard and things really get tough, things that you think you can intellectually be prepared for, when those things actually happen to you, you cannot be prepared for them. In their context, it's being cold, miserably cold, and lack of sleep. In our context, of course, we don't get through those things, and it's kind of silly to compare. But things like rejection um, is a difficult thing, and it affects you mentally just almost the same. Because again, our job is mental. You cannot just push through this. You have to get your brain to work on that. And if you don't have a strong enough reason, you're just much more likely to quit. Now, in older days, in car sales, in the 70s, let's say, sales managers intuitively knew about that. And they were finding, again, they were just trial and error, and they were trying different things on how to get people motivated. First of all, you can, if you look up this person, his name was George Gerard. I believe he's dead, but he held the Guinness World Book of Records for the most retail cars sold. Crazy numbers, something like 120 cars per month. He used to sell Chevrolet before the internet, before fleet sales, just belly to belly. And you can find his audiobook, and he tells his own story. He tells about how his family, his wife and kids were at home and there was no food. He didn't have any money, he didn't have any credit. He begged the sales manager to let him try to work at a car dealership. He found one customer, he begged that customer to buy a car. Customer bought a car, and after all of that was done, he had to beg the manager to loan him some cash so he can go and buy some groceries. So, that doesn't happen anymore. Right now, it's hard to actually go hungry in our world. And so what happened later in the 80s, sales managers looked around and they found other, let's say, a little bit different techniques of how to get people motivated. My sales manager told me a story how when he started selling, he made a little bit of money, he made a couple of good commissions. His manager drove him to a stereo store and made him buy the most expensive stereo system. Basically, made him spend that money right away. Okay, so at least he got something out of it. But now he didn't have any money. Now he got a taste of wasting, spending money. Now he wants to work more. So that's just one example, and that's somewhat positive. But then sales managers figure out that it's really good for them when salespeople get, for example, a drug habit, because once you get a drug habit, then you owe your money to a drug dealer, and that's good motivation. I don't think you need to have stronger why than that if you need to pay your dealer a couple of $1,000s. Same with gambling. Gambling salespeople, that was a great thing for managers and for owners. There were a couple of movies. They were basically both, I think, based on the same book. One was The Wolf of Wall Street, and on the same book was a movie called Boiler Room. And if you watch it again, you see how experienced salespeople take the new guy and they get him into gambling, get him into drugs, women, cars, just something. So whatever he makes, that money is gone right away. The next day he has to just climb that thing right away. We're going to be smarter than that. We want to be smarter than that because for many reasons, and we'll talk about them later, but it's pretty obvious. It's better to have money and be successful and be healthy and use that money and use your influence for good things than just getting wasted on high cocaine. All right. Now, let's talk about, it kind of sounds obvious, but also the first step on getting what you want is knowing what you want. Just think about it. You show up for work, you want to get into car sales, you heard you can get a lot of money, but you actually don't know how much money. You don't know what you're going to get out of it. You don't know how much you have to work, what you have to do. What ends up with, some people get successful, but a lot of us wash out. And having a strong why will be something that definitely can separate you from those that succeed, from those that succeed from those that wash out or just survive for many years and just kind of like, you know, fade out. All right, so now let's talk about this. Some people think about what kind of person you are. You might be the person that a good why for him will be something positive. When you can visualize and dream of something that's good for you. Family, successful, you're being financially independent, you contributing to the community, and so on. For some people, it's not good because a lot of people are better motivated by avoiding pain rather than gaining pleasure. We can still help. Your why could be to avoid getting pain. Tony Robbins has this thing, he calls it the Theickens Process. Probably got it somewhere else, but basically the idea is this. He gets you, or you can get yourself, to imagine what happens in your life. Think about yourself in 5 years if you don't improve at all. So in this world, if you don't improve at all, somebody else can improve. Also, if nobody just gonna improve, you're getting older, younger people gonna go into the market. Things will change, so those younger people will be more adapted to those things that change, but if you don't improve, you don't change. What's gonna happen in your life if in 5 years you're making less money, you don't have strong reason to work hard, but even to live, so it might affect your health, it might affect your relationship. Just imagine the worst scenario. See how that feels. If that's not going to motivate you, I don't know, figure something else. Why do some people refuse, even though they understand that they need a good reason, a big reason, they know that they need to set goals and still don't do that? Well, there are two reasons. One of them, either both or one of them. So first of them will be fear of failure. When you specify what you want, when you set a goal, you specify your conditions of failure, which means if my goal is to sell 30 cars, and if I don't sell 30 cars, my brain will feel like I'm a failure. I don't want to feel like a failure. So I'm going to try to avoid that. How do I avoid that? I don't set goals. Okay? So we'll talk about that. Setting goals and having a why doesn't mean that you have to get there. Again, it's like, we'll talk about the song, When You Wish Upon a Star, but when, there's another saying, when you shoot for the star, you might land on the moon or something like that. Basically what it means is that it's okay if you don't reach your maximum thing. Setting a goal, having a reason will help you improve. And improving is all we want. If you get better every day, every month, you can't wish for more than that. I mean, you can wish, but that's already great. So one reason could be fear of failure. Another reason could be fear of success. And again, that's a known phenomenon. First of all, some people just have this mental thing in their head that in your head there's a level of what you're worth, what you should be making per year. For a lot of people, it's whatever their father made. So if your father making or made in his best year $80,000, you're working hard, you're improving, you're getting some knowledge, you're getting more customers, you hit 80,000, suddenly that's it. Suddenly you sabotage yourself, suddenly your mood goes bad, and you revert below that. You lose that, you just don't go above that. That could be one thing. It also works with a more specific thing when salespeople have to quote payments or quote pricing. And if you as a salesperson don't believe that your product is worth X amount, it's going to be really difficult for you to ask that amount. What also happens is that there are actually dangers in being successful. What are the dangers? Well, you could lose your friends, or your friends, you might not lose them, but they will hold you down. There's this thing that's called crabs in the bucket. One crab, if you put a bunch of crabs in the bucket, and one of them, they're all going to try to climb out, but when one of them tries to climb out, other ones drag them down. They could have just helped each other, push each other. That's possible. Well, technically possible. Never going to happen. Same things can happen in a sales scenario, in a sales team scenario. Once you get more successful, that means you sending a signal to the managers, to other salespeople that now they feel bad. Now they feel as a failure. How they can get out of it? Well, they can get better, but that's kind of hard. What's easy? Drag you down. Convince you. Maybe you don't need to work that hard. Or if they can't do that, we're going to justify and start spreading rumors about, oh, you just getting deals from the manager. You just got lucky. Or maybe you just doing something wrong. You gaming the system. So that actually will happen. But again, if you have strong enough why, you can overcome that. Just be aware that actually happens. All right. And, just remember that there is actually danger. And there's this thing, it happens, and we're actually here, we're in North America, right? Let's assume if you're watching this, you're in the United States or Canada, and this is a free capitalism enterprise thing. Everybody, we support each other. A lot of countries, it's not like that. A lot of other countries, it's actually can put you in danger if you get successful. If you get successful, gangsters will come and try to steal, try to get money from you. Racketeering is a real thing in a lot of countries. So, there is danger in that. But just be aware that this might be slowing you down. All right. Gain pleasure or avoid pain. Have a vision of how you want your life to be, or vision what your life don't want to happen. So again, either get goals for what you want to happen or what you want to avoid. Now, again, let's talk about this fear of failure. There's no guarantee of success. If you do, it's possible that you do everything right, you can get sick and die. Those things happen. If you take some specific tactic or some specific technique that somebody teaches you, you try it once, you try it twice, you try it 3 times, it might fail every single time. But how you can help that is just look at it. I look at it as poker. Okay, compare it to poker. In poker, let's say you can get 2 and 7 as a pair, or you can get a couple of aces. So the rule is generic rules. If you get 2 and 7, don't play that card. Okay, chances are that you're gonna lose. If you have 2 aces, you're not gonna fold that. You're gonna play this. How you're gonna play this is a different question, but chances are you're gonna win. Now, does it mean that every pocket ace is gonna win? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that 2 and 7 cannot win if you go all in with 2 and 7? No, you can still win. That's a possibility. But we play the percentages because sales, we deal with people, we deal with a lot of unknown, and it's just a game of averages. All right. There was this study that the myth is that it was a Harvard study, then turned out that it's from somewhere else. But they studied people that set goals compared to people that do not set goals. And again, I'm not going to get into statistics. You can look it up. But there's empirical evidence that when people do set goals, they achieve a lot more. Money, career, everything. And this video is not about goals. There will be a separate video for that, but we're just talking about the big picture. Start with the big picture, and It's goals will be just like the small details. You start with something big idea, like you want to build a house, you want to have a schematics for the whole house. Goals will be, well, you need four walls, you want four rooms, you want the bathroom. So, without the big picture, you still might end up with a house, just not going to look great. Okay. All right. Also, think about this. In sales, we go through different recruiting process, but in normal recruiting process, recruiters, hiring managers always ask this question: where do you see yourself in 5 years? How do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, do they care? Does it matter what you answer? Not really. But what they look for people with vision, with goals, because those people are more likely to succeed. They know that, okay? And if they do that, why wouldn't we do that? Now, there's one more reason where goals and having a big vision, big reason, big why is more important for us, is because, again, we're not engineers or software developers. We deal with people, and people can feel things. You know that. You can look sometimes at a person, you can tell if that person is telling the truth, if that person is hiding something, if that person is really smiling or just fake smiling. Okay? Customers feel the same. People that you're trying to influence, they feel whether you have a drive, a determination, and people like that compared to somebody that just like looks. I look at a customer and in my eyes, it's like the dollar signs. Can I make money off you right now? Can I make money off you right now? If not, I'm not interested. I want to help you. I just have the small goal that's right now. So again, people feel that. And that's why for us, it's even more important. Now, what could be your why? What could be a big reason? We'll talk separately about setting goals, and there's science on how to set goals, and we'll make it very easy, specific for sales or car sales. But just for an example, it's better than goal is a general situation and not one outcome. Not I want to have $1 million in 5 years, but if there's a specific amount of money, what's the payout? Why do you want this? What are you going to do with this? Or your big why is to take care of your family, but not just to take care of your family, but something more specific. Make sure my children can go through college without taking out student loans. If it's beyond your family, that's even better. You might want, why do you want this money? Because you want to donate it for a cause that you believe in. You want to donate it to your church. You want to maybe not donate the money, but stop working and be a volunteer the rest of your life. Something like this, if this is up in your head, this is something that will help you, and it'll be like a self-fulfilling prophecy because you give this thing to your brain works on it, and it's using it to be more successful. I hope this makes sense. All right. One thing about this is be careful. Again, sometimes people have those goals, but they don't think them through, that big thing, because you kind of have to have a little of detail for that. For example, my goal will be, let's say for tomorrow, my goal is to sell one car. Okay. And then I go to work and I'm determined and I'm fighting the customer. I'm very determined, and customer upset, and everybody's upset, and somehow I push this through. I sold the car. Customer's not going to come back. I'm drained. I'm upset. Next time it's much harder for me because my brain remembers it as a negative experience. Instead, my goal could be, how can I sell a car tomorrow and have fun? How can I sell a car tomorrow and make the customer my actual friend that we're going to hang out a week later? Something like this. There's this story that I heard recently, just literally a few days ago, and it kind of affected me a little bit. So John Lennon and Yoko Ono in the 70s, they did some records, and they just took it easy. They moved to New York, and then they recorded another new album with a new recording label, and they put it out, and they put the single out, okay? And this was before the internet, so the Billboard Top 100 comes out, the list comes out of like a whole journal, and they come out first week, the single comes out as number 6. So Nobody knows exactly what happened. They just found that billboard later, and there was the six was circled, and there was an arrow from six to number one, meaning that they wished for their single, their song, to go from six to number one. Next day, John Lennon got shot. He died. They found that newspaper billboard in their apartment. And guess what happened the day after that? The single went to number one all over the world. And it stayed number one for a really long time. It's just that Yoko probably, if she could think about it and if she actually had any control over it, we all know she would have wished for something else. So just be careful what you wish for. Okay, you got to put some thought into that. And also something against just specific goals that have an end date, like I want to make $5 million so I can retire. There are statistics again that when people retire, they start dying. They get heart attacks, they get depressed because that drive, that why, doesn't only help you achieve your goals, it makes you happier, it keeps you healthier, it gives you hormones that keep you younger. And once that thing goes away, people start dying. It's like when somebody tells a person that you have cancer, you have 1 month to live. If you believe that, that's it. It's going to die. And again, statistics prove that. Some people refuse to believe that. They go for second opinion. They go for treatment. They just refuse to believe that. And again, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to fight cancer. Cancer kills people, but it helps. And if nothing else, that last month, you would have much more fun than just agreeing that you're going to die and go to die. So to end this, I want to do one thing. There's this old movie, Disney movie, Pinocchio from the 40s. Jordan Peterson does a great job of analyzing that movie, and it can go for hours about just comparing this to Bible and ancient myths and psychology and Jung and Freud and all that. But just to little thing from that movie, this movie starts with a song. We all know the song, When You Wish Upon a Star. Okay? So just to end this video, I want to read that for you. And just listen to the words. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do. Fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Thanks for watching.